Waheguru Ji
Vaheguru
Ka
Ji Ka
Khalsa,
Khalsa,
Waheguru Ji
Vaheguru Ji
Ki
Ki
Fateh.
Fateh.
Welcome back to the vlog, everyone. Today we're going to be answering some of the questions that you've sent to us regarding our move to India. So the first question, we're going to shoot right into it. The first question is, how did you guys feel when preparing to leave UK, and what preparation did you guys undertake? So do you want to answer that first?
Um, it all happened really quickly, really. There wasn't kind of much time to think about things. I remember sitting down and going through a list of the practical things, like informing utilities and employer and so forth, and getting the tenancy thing sorted where we were living in Hayes in UK. But then that list then obviously turned into kind of like practical things, like where kind of moving out and stuff like that. The Sangat in London and Leicester were amazing when it came down to helping us get rid of our stuff, and also help packing. I remember really late kind of sessions with some Najwan things that we know in London, and till 1 or 2 a.m. in the morning trying to get stuff packed out and dismantled. It was odd because we just moved into the property, and most of the stuff was new. It'd only been about 6 months into the tenancy. So
That's right. I think for that reason, it was quite bittersweet. Um, it was bittersweet. I mean, we'd really got on really well with the UK Sangatana, and they,
in such a short period of time, that
yeah.
we managed to forge, and for the kids as well, they'd forged so many relations. Like there was a weekly Thursday program that would go to do Simran at Bhai Harjeet Singh's house, and they kind of gained a lot from that sangat,
That atmosphere, yeah, it
and
was.
they really helped us at that last few months that we were there. And then obviously all our stuff was kind of dispersed amongst either selling on eBay or trying to get things on Spock, which was useless. But trying to sell things through Facebook and stuff, and through friends and family, we managed to get through a lot of things. There were individuals who helped us, people in the Sangat who were really trying to get rid of our stuff for us, and that was amazing.
I think the question was, how did we feel when preparing? So,
I
like,
didn't have time to think, to
I
be
think,
honest.
yeah, it was such a busy
You
time
don't,
because I was driving up and down the country like 2 to 3 times a week with uni and my placement still in Leicester, and working in London, and he was so busy at work. It happened so fast. Um,
I think also in June with the Mahapurush, the saints who'd called us here came to visit UK, and the Vadde Baba, the elder Mahapurush, had said something to me that was grounding me through that whole few months when I look back at it. And what they'd said was that if you're samarpit, or if you're like sacrifice something to something, or giving your all, then there's no other thought process that occurs. Like you just are doing rather than saying, you just do. And that was grounding me spiritually at that time
I
a
think,
lot.
yeah, and I think just to go on how I felt at that time, because what you imagine what's going to happen in life and then something else starts happening, it was like a real test as well for me, probably more, maybe not so much for him, but the Sakhi that kept coming into my mind and being a source of inspiration was by Jogaji's Sakhi. By Jogaji is a Sikh from the time of Guru Gobind Singh Ji, and he said that I'm Samarpat to you, I'm your Joga, Hana? I'm all living for you, I'm sacrificed to you, to Guru Gobind Singh Ji, to the Guru. And the Guru was like, that's fine. Fast forward a bit later, and by Jogaji goes back home to get married, and there's 4 loves, there's circumambulations, 4 circumambulations around Guru Granth Sahib Ji, and he was on the third one when he got a message from a Sikh that Guru Gobind Singh Ji wants him to come back to Anandpur Sahib straight away, like right now. And what happened was he thought, oh my God, okay, so my Guru is Guru Gobind Singh Ji, I have to follow this. And he got up on the third one, not completing his marriage ceremony, the 4th love. And on the way there's a few tests where he thinks that, okay, I've given this much to Guruji, now maybe I can get some pleasure out of a brothel and things like that. But then Guruji stands at the door and stops him from going in And this continues until he gets to Anandpur Sahib and realizes that saying that you belong to Guru is one thing, but actually acting upon the instruction is something else altogether. And for me, that Saki kept coming into me, that wow, I've always said, I've been taken Amrit 17, 18 years ago, but when the call has come from Guru Sahib that this is what Guruji wants of you, and like Bhai Jogaji was on his third love, for me it was like, wow, I'm just completing uni, I'm just going to start my career and stuff. Those human responses come across, but that Saki really helped me just to understand that we're human and we'll go through like weird feelings and stuff, but the thing that I knew was that my soul wanted to go to India, my soul wanted to do this, but my mind will tend to waver at times. So that was my feeling. My gut instinct was like, yes, I want to do this, but your mind always comes up with hundreds of questions. How will I cope? How will the kids cope? What will it be like? So just going to move on to the next question. The next question was, how was the children's initial reaction, and do the children miss UK at times? If so, how do you deal with that? So
I think initially the kids, we were thinking how we're going to tell the kids. So I think Jeev and Hadeep go found out first.
So our 8-year-old daughter she's a bit different in the sense that since she was about 6 or 7, she's been saying to me every single day that, Mama, I want to live in India, I want to live with the saints, that's all I want. And fast forward 2.5 years later, when we got the message that can you come here and do seva, she was just, when I told her, look, this is what's, when I said to her that we've been invited to live in India and we want to go, her reaction was, all my life has been fulfilled. That was her words, all my life has been fulfilled. So she wasn't an issue. She was happy. With the boys, I wasn't even there. I was on the road on the M1, and Singh Sahib was at home with the boys, and he told them.
Yeah, I think initially they were shocked, but then they were excited as well. I think my worry was that they'd, think about the materialistic things first and then start worrying about that. But they actually were, okay, wow, this is amazing, and that kind of gave me confidence. Okay, this is all working out really smoothly. When we got here, I think what hit them the most was when the announcement was made to the Sangha that we're leaving in Leicester. And that day, I think, I saw the raw emotion in Sundar's thing, and the kids, they were like in tears when they were kind of embracing the other Sangha's children. And then obviously just a few days before, my elder brother had come from America with his family. They'd just come to visit the UK, but then we told them that we're actually going to be leaving the UK. And then when they met the family, and the last few weeks with the family, I think kind of brought up their kind of attachments to the fore. And I think the last week or so, I think they began to get a bit nervous and thinking, we're leaving everything behind here.
I think for us, it was really important. For me, I kept asking the children all the time, from the moment that they found out. I think the boys mentioned that they felt this was coming anyway, but the moment they found out, and we asked how they felt, they said, yeah, it's fine. And then, like, for a long time after that, I would regularly ask them, and by themselves, take them alone, how do you feel, are you sure about this? The saints gave us a list of all the things to consider on the move, so it included local produce, the environment being pollution, the seasonal weather changes, the climate, mosquitoes, the school. I think one of the amazing reaction that I got from my eldest son, he was 13 at the time, and he thought about it really deeply, and he had already said yes, but his reaction was that he just turned to me and he goes, well, this is the purpose of life. Of course I'm going to miss everyone and miss everything in UK, but this is the purpose of life, to do seva. So that gave me so much hope and haunsla.
I think we've got to kind of really highlight the fact that my kids are like football mad. Like even here, they can't get away from match of the day, or neither can I, to be honest. But like, the whole thought about giving up, being able to play football on the street, and it sounds really
minor, doesn't it? Yeah.
but it's a big thing. It's a big thing for them. It was a big thing for us when we were growing up. So I think you've got to be aware and keep that in the back of our minds. So those people who are considering coming here, those kind of like comforts of just playing that kind of Britishness as much, you have to kind of dearg it and give it up. However, since they've come here, the way we were welcomed here, I think that took out a lot of the emotional baggage that possibly they might have been carrying, only for it to reappear maybe later on, like nearly I think 4 or 5 months down, it really hit everyone, the children and everyone. It was quite hard for them to kind of take the weather and like the winter here. It was a bit of a challenge, but what we've been employing and something that we learned in the UK was the whole growth mentality, that everything's a challenge and that this is a chance to become determined and build your resilience, and they really understand that. They really get that. So, and they've taken it on. I mean, it's been a challenge, but when you keep yourself busy, keep yourself focused with learning and stuff like that, then it seems like it's just another day. The days here go really fast, go by really fast, and obviously when you're in the company of sadhus and saints as well, they will give you instructions on a daily basis that you have to follow, or you have to try and get done, which keeps you focused and it doesn't let your mind go anywhere else. It's when you're free, when you've got nothing to do, that the mind really starts to kind of waver.
I think I'm just going to go back to them missing it. My middle one was really torn, and he was the most popular one at school, the most sporty one, the most academic. So he was really popular at school, and with his group of friends, he loved doing kirtan. He was doing so well in the UK. So for him, the timing was a bit strange, because he just built himself up to that last couple of years. But obviously he did say yes, he wants to live in India. But with him, what I realized is you have to go with the nature of the child. And when we've been asked how did we deal with the kids missing UK, I think 2 things that I remember is, one thing, the saint here, Baba Karndeep Singh, gave so much support. Like any bhajan that they would do, any words that they would speak, like I wouldn't even have to say anything. That the kids went to school on their first day in India and they found it such a massive culture shock, and Babaji will automatically say to himself and give some advice or some some hope that don't worry, things will improve, and it was quite specific. It was much more specific than what I'm saying. So that made a big difference. And the other thing was,
it's like a spiritual anchoring that they received, like an anchor point.
he was the more like the torn one, and he took longer for that reason, because he was so well adjusted in UK, where the other 2 always had in mind that they wanted to do seva, that was their happiness. But he was really successful in both kind of fields, worldly and spiritually. But one thing that my eldest son said to him when they came here, like within a week or so, they started missing UK. Singh Sahib and my daughter had gone to Hemkund Sahib. Me and the boys were still here sorting out the schooling and stuff. And that's when they started missing UK. And something my eldest son said to my middle son, my eldest one threw himself into seva, so he started doing Langar seva every day and other seva around the Gurdwara. And he turned around to my middle one and said, my feeling of missing UK decreased from 100% to 25% just by partaking in seva. And that was the advice he gave, and my mouth just dropped. I was like, oh my God, are these little kids saying this to each other? It was really amazing. So in terms of how do we support them, yes, the saints give us lots of support and reassurance. And myself and Kuljit Singh, I think we play 2 kind of complementary roles. I often play the counsellor, which is more natural to me, where I just contain their feelings. I'll listen to them, give them a safe space just to explore their feelings, and make them feel heard and valued, and make sure that they know that they matter through this move. It's not being done mindlessly. Where Singh Sahib would be more of the coach, and he'd apply that growth mindset and push them a bit more, but gently, and then
Is it gently?
is it gently? Yeah. But from listening to us, I hope what you have taken away is, from the get-go, we consulted the children. We made them feel part of the decision-making process about moving. We made them decide what they want to bring to UK, what do they need, what could they give away to charity or to their friends or whatever. And when they're here, just giving them the time and space, and then like as a coach would do, he would like engage them more in seva, or get them out of that kind of way of thinking and talk to them about what Maharaj was saying for that day or anything like that. Singh Sahib and the little one, they went to UK in December, which was freezing here. It was absolutely freezing. So me and the boys were here by ourselves for 3 weeks, and because it was so cold and electricity cuts and what have you, it was not an easy time for the boys. They missed everyone, but the middle one wanted to go back to UK at that time as well. And the most amazing thing is to try and live in the Hukum. The Hukum was not yet for him to go because he had still had some schoolwork to catch up on. And he did really well. He just applied himself to Gurbani so much. Like we're encouraged to do so much bar today. And he was doing the next day's one in advance. Like he was really leaning on Gurbani, on Guru Granth Sahib Ji so much. And by the end of it, the night before they arrived, he said, "Mama, I did it. We did it." He was so proud of himself. And I was like, look how resilient you've become. So that was really good. How are the children's studies? Are they in private education?
I think the studies wise, I think one of the biggest things that we have in the UK is the whole notion of safeguarding. I think here it's a different type of safeguarding. It's more open. Like for example, a teacher will have access to WhatsApp groups here. You've got access to the teacher on that kind of level. And it's a good thing as well because the teachers kind of give the kind of prem and pyar as well to the children.
Like they call the kids bete and bibi, don't they? Which is daughter, son.
It's nice in that way. And actually, in the last few years in the UK, I think it's become like a haven of distrust almost amongst people. Like you feel like you can't trust anyone because of the legislation around safeguarding and the environment that it creates. Kind of protection of children and stuff, but when here you've got more faith in God and the faith in individuals to do what they're supposed to be doing, and obviously the children have got their own prayer. You lean more on the prayer, they lean more on like the kind of guidelines of living in India, which is more based on Ram Bharose, which is faith in God. Even traveling wherever you have to be, because there's no other way. And that's the amazing thing here.
It's not structured here, like it's not structured, or that safeguarding net is not there. So you have to rely on God. And actually you break that duality that you think that you're so secure in UK, but really, what is security?
And the benefits are, look, even though you have like safeguard, it was funny because I was traveling in the car once and I was going on about safeguarding, and the Maharaj turned around and said like, in amongst all that legislation, do vikar still happen? And I just went quiet because then I realized that actually, despite having all that legislation and safeguarding and so forth, like, do things not happen in the UK? Do bache not do vikar with each other? That still happens, and that's something that we can't escape. So here is more, if you think of it in a positive way, there are advantages of having a direct conversation with teachers as well, because at any time you can find out the progress of a child.
Yeah, they're quite supportive. They want to help, and so one of the questions was, are they in private education? So if I explain that in India there's Sarkari schools, which are government schools, which are honestly, they're in a bad way. I mean, the infrastructure, the teaching, the quality is really bad. The other one option is private education, which 90% of kids go to private education. So yes, they're in a private education establishment, which is one of the best brands in India. But the thing is, what we're finding coming over from the UK, that it's good, and I'm glad they're having this experience, because if we give them a motto in the UK schools, like to be the best you can be, or to, whatever it is, if we give them that motto here, they're actually applying that motto. They're being the best they can be in the environment that they're given, which is so alien to them at the beginning, and now they've adjusted and learnt how to navigate themselves away around it. But we still find, and for this reason, this big announcement here, we are creating, with Guru Sahib's Kirpa, with Mata Sahib Kochi's Kirpa, an academy in this area of Malwa where there isn't one, a Cambridge affiliated academy, which we're going through the talks with, called Mata Sahib Kaur Academy. And it is going to be an international academy, but also to uplift the kids of Punjab, because the race to go out of Punjab is crazy, it's madness. And for that reason, we want the kids of Punjab to feel like they're getting that global, international, world-class environment, study environment, and exposure to, because obviously we want teachers from the UK. So if you're watching this and you're a teacher, get in touch, because this is a real chance to make grassroots level change. The social impact of this project is huge. I cannot recommend it enough. But what we're finding with our own children is the school that they go to is brilliant. I read their books, there's textbooks, and it is fantastic. But the only thing is, the holistic approach in terms of sport is not as structured. They're one of the sporty schools as well, is not as structured, or they're not as committed as you would get in UK. I mean, sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. And the other thing is they only get 20 minutes break a day, 20 minutes. In school, in a primary school, you'd get 1 hour lunchtime and then 15 minutes for break time. So there's plenty of time for downtime or switching off between studies. They have 8 periods a day, so it's quite intense in that way.
And the good thing is, the amazing thing is that, you know, in the UK, I think the way the child learns is very much focused on their own type of learning, that personalized learning in a way. Here, it's like a more directive the method.
Yeah.
And I think for us, I think the children have benefited from that. The reason is because have to become more focused on learning things and memorizing things. And I've definitely seen, like, especially in the middle son, that power of memorizing things has really kind of come forth, and it's actually stretched over to Gurbani as well, like trying to memorize Bart or try to memorize other Banis, and he seems to be picking up more clearly and more faster.
I think
there's a way all children can learn in their own environment, in their own way, and the best possible learning style that they employ. But here, I think, and it's improved so much here. You know, at first my worry was that, it's going to be like how Bendu style, like you've got like a blackboard, and then you get your hands whipped if you don't get like Uda right or Erda right.
That is one thing that they did see here. The kids did see teachers hitting kids, and obviously we've spoken to them that we're from UK, we don't hit children there, it's against the law. So that's one thing that we did tell the teachers. You know, the kids were a bit traumatized, but they had to develop a thick skin to deal with it, because here in India, I mean, kids are used to it. It's galdi galya that they get hit, but with us we don't employ that method of bringing them up for teaching.
I think just to clarify, it's not like full on hitting, smacking, slapping and so forth like that. I think it's just a small like tap on the face or on the shout out. That's from what I've heard.
Nevertheless, the kids do get freaked out.
I remember going to primary school in UK, and one of our teachers used to grab me by the shoulders and shake us. So I mean, it's not as bad as we think it is. And in all Punjabi families, thoda bahut to thapad honda hai.
But yeah, but that's looking at all the gaps that are here, looking at the need, because kids generally in Punjab, they don't have much hope apart from leaving. They don't realize that they can become leaders or pioneers themselves in Punjab and actually bring change to Punjab themselves. So I suppose taking all these points into consideration, this is why hopefully our own children will end up at Mata Sahib Kaur Academy and have that global platform where they can excel wherever they are.
One more thing that we got to kind of, we're having a laugh and joke about corporal punishment as such in schools and so forth. But actually what it is, it's that doubt factor, it's the fear factor. You know, even when you're riding going to school in a car, you know, there could be a cow that comes out of nowhere, or there could be there's like extreme fog, mist, and you can't see, the visibility is only 5-10 meters, sometimes even less. And it's that fear and it's that focus again, and that kind of thought that I've already got Parmeshwar here, I've already got God here, that only Bible can help me here. And actually when you see that you're okay and nothing's gone wrong, then your trust and love grows more as well. So actually love and fear are the two factors that we've seen very apparently in Punjab, like that flame and that kind of fear attributes kind of getting developed, in not just in the kids especially.
So the next question is, how do you find it as a Western woman? Have you had to adjust much, or do you live your life much as before, like driving around by yourself? No, this is a really important one. I think firstly, you need to consult Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj or the saints, because har har jandoi ek hai, so they are one and the same, Guruji says, है ना? You need to consult a higher source to kind of support, to ask if you should be moving in the first place, and also they'll support you as well. What are the reasons that you're moving? Because I say this because as a Western woman born and brought up in UK, I've had to adjust a lot. India is known and has been selected as #1 most dangerous country for females in the world by expert panelists. So can you imagine, this is also the most spiritual country, most colourful country. That reason, yes, I have had to adjust. Don't think that you can just come here and you can, just go to the market by yourself, or you can just go here, there and everywhere, not listen. The reason why there are certain guidelines that I follow, the saints explicitly told me, and all the families that come, to look after yourselves, be wary who you're around. And for me, I'm not allowed to go. And for me, I don't go anywhere by myself. I've been advised not to go anywhere alone. So even if I'm in the car and I'm driving, I need somebody with me, a sevadar or Singh Sahib, or wherever I am, I need at least 1 or 2, 3 people with me. And this is just for my safety. I'd rather be safe than sorry. The risks are high, but you can manage it. And like I said, I think you definitely need the support of a higher power.
I mean, saying that as well, I think just to add, there have been females who have come to the Gurdwara where we're staying and who have travelled alone all the way to Mumbai and other cities by themselves.
Yeah.
And also taught, we've got another Benji who's come and taught driving skills to
That's
other
right,
girls.
yes.
In the Gurdwara Sahib, and that was unheard of. And we went to see kind of like the equivalent of the Lord Mayor of the whole area, the Deputy Commissioner. He commented on the fact that that's amazing that in a village you've got females learning how to drive it. And actually in the cities you find that there's more females on scooters and stuff
cities
like that than
are
males.
fine, yeah.
In the rural areas you'll see the odd woman driving a car here and there.
I've not seen one yet. I've not actually seen a woman driving.
That's because you don't go out.
Oh.
But like
I'm not allowed out.
but yeah, whenever I'm driving around, but there are like females driving cars and stuff like that, and on scooters and so forth. So it's not as bad as we think it is.
It's playing it sensibly. Being sensible here is the key. So like he said, yes, there are there are females come all the time. I mean, I think we've had about 3 or 4 sisters from the UK come and by themselves and do seva here, selfless service, whether it's taking part in the camps that we do for the rural children, or whether it's teaching female sports or driving. And another Benji, who's the assistant director of the motherhood movie that's going to come out Manaj Gopal this year, she goes to Mumbai by herself. But it's different when you've got like that reassurance from the saints that don't worry, you'll be safe, you go, it's fine. And that's how we live, and it works so well for us. Manaj Gopal, nothing has ever gone wrong in that way.
And it's that trust, isn't it? It's that trust and that belief in the higher power looking after you, and that's crucial. And
in terms of being a woman and adjusting, I think what's really helped, because one of the questions was, do you still feel like, or do our family still feel like an outsider here in the village? And I would answer no to that, because we have a lot of people from UK especially come over and spend months here. People tend to spend 3 to 6 months at a time out here. We've got another Baji out here who's here for open-ended time. So because of that, we've got people from UK still here. Obviously we've got the saints that we've known personally for over 10 years. So they're like family anyway. And then we've got the locals that we've got to know whilst living here, the Sevadars and the family. So that's been fine. So the next question is, do you, or did you have in your mind that when you're older, or your kids are older, that you'd move to Punjab? He always wanted to go to Punjab.
I remember going to, I think the kids were very young at that time, and I'd gone to, without kind of the express approval of Serene here.
It wasn't just me,
yeah,
to be fair.
We went to Panj Pyare.
Some other family members weren't impressed.
I went to the Panj Pyare at Amrit Sanchar and said, look, Maharaj Kirpa Karo, I want to go India. For and they didn't say anything. They just turned around and said one thing. They said, "Hajj any time. It's not time yet. Nyane shote the kids are too young."
Yeah.
And at that time, I thought maybe it's because the kids will get older, then I'll get a chance to go. I didn't realize at that time that the whole family was going to come. This is how Maharaj works. It's like Maharaj's plan was at that time, even they foresaw it, obviously, Antarjami and the inner Noah, they know everything. So that was like,
That was when
we didn't even know
Sundar Singh
about
was a few
Seve
months.
Wala Sahib at that time. We did.
Saying that, the most amazing thing was, no, I never really, was attracted to India in itself, but obviously the spirituality I was. And the only time I really felt it was when Brahmgyani Baba Ajit Singh Hansali Wale were here. And I think my daughter was born with their blessings, and when she was about 1.5, she just had this really big pull to them. She was about 1.5 years old, and one day I was just there at that Asthan, and I'd noticed that all the kids from the school next door would come and they'd pay their respects every day to Granth Sahib Ji and Baba Ajit Singh Hansali Wale. And I just thought, wow, how amazing is that, to every day your child gets darshan of a Guruji, and then also a Brahmgyani Mahapurush, that you're under their umbrella. No? And that's when one time I thought, wow, I'd love to bring my daughter up here, even if it's just me and my daughter. I'd love to bring her up under the umbrella of a Mahapurush saint. But that kind of, like, obviously Babaji left their Sarir, and you just get on with life in UK. I started studying and stuff, so that never came back. So after that, I never had that thought ever again. What do you miss about the UK, and what don't you miss? I miss the electricity being in full supply. Bijli. But at least our carbon footprint has decreased.
Actually, you know what it is? Everything here is designed to live more contentedly. I was thinking, there's nothing stopping us from getting a chulla made and sitting in front of it with burning wood.
Hey, there is. This baby's Western.
No, but there's nothing stopping us from doing that, and there's nothing stopping us from being a bit more contented in our lives with the decisions that we make. And we were watching a video last night of a couple who come from America and just gave up everything there, and then they came back to Moga in Punjab, and they're just doing
farming
and stuff and so forth. And so and hearing their story was inspirational as
It
well.
was so amazing. I mean, the Singh said that he'd lived in UK. No, the Singh said he'd lived in USA for 27 years, and his singing was so inspiring. So she said, we need to come back here and make organic farming, make it,
do it properly.
Do it properly, and really take an opportunity to bring healthy stuff back into Punjab, because it's so riddled with pesticides and chemicals, and there's such a massive rate of cancer here because of that.
And amazing thing is, though, something that we didn't think about, but like there is a massive movement in Punjab about organic farming and so forth. And there are shops, and there's like Punjabi kind of kheti kind of organizations who are trying to preserve organic kind of farming methods. Even sometimes when I'm going to pick up the children, the car comes on automatically sometimes, and like in it they have a radio show which is designed to it's two kind of Buzurg talking about organic kheti and how to do it, and it's like normal colloquial language. It's quite interesting to listen to, because they talk about all the different types of varieties of sunflower seed, for example, and when's the best time to beej it. It's like they're really inspiring people who might be listening on the radio how to do kheti.
And this is what the youth are losing. I mean, we went to, I'm going a bit off topic here, but the so-called mayor of the area that we're in, the DC, when we went for a meeting with him about the farming and the water crisis, and what's happening to Punjab, everyone wanting to immigrate to different countries and stuff. He said, where Punjabis used to be so strong and so on their work on the 2 feet, he goes, now all their jor, their power or their strength is just in their hairstyles. That's what he said. He goes, all the Punjabis are just thin little men that cannot do anything, and their hair is where all the power
energy is making the hair stand on end. That's
But
what
organic farming, we are doing something here which the saints have blessed us with. I don't know if you can see that there. This is all organic farming. So we've got gobi, lasan, What have we got growing here?
everything.
We've got
Aubergines,
dhania,
dhania,
aubergines. There's loads of stuff. That
Mulia,
whole area is just
radish,
organic stuff.
spinach, onions, gunde, lasan, gajar, carrots, potatoes, the works. And everything's seasonal here as well, because like you know,
Yeah.
like now when you go to the when you're going to out maybe in the car, you'll see the radio area with like loads of gobi. So gobi is in tune at the moment. The wheat has been kind of sown a few months ago, and like that's going to be available around Basaki time. So everything's in a seasonal kind of bracket.
Okay, what UK necessities did you guys take? So for me, I was advised by the Saints, bring all your kitchen stuff. And I think this was such an amazing idea. I wouldn't have thought of it. I would have left it all there and bought it again from scratch. But one, it saves money. You know, you couldn't have sold that stuff as your used kitchenware for much. And then to waste that money again and buy it all here, what was the point? And also they said because you're accustomed to that kind of the mugs or whatever it is. So I bought my mugs, my bowls, cutlery, the gajia, the big spoons, the pots and pans, the tawa, the rolling pin, velna. I bought all that stuff. Alongside that, I bought some bedding and towels, a kettle, toaster, iron. I've also got a blender from UK, which makes makes cooking really a lot faster. So kitchen stuff, and then hot water bottles for the winter. Because the next question is, what are the best way to keep warm in winter? Winter is a challenge. You probably see my other vlogs how it can have an effect.
I think in the UK, I was kind of always, cause, you know, my father was always used to say to me, "Kush pala, latanch pala, kush," like you know, like.
Yeah.
I would never do that. I was one of those types that would just have minimal clothing, like in terms of even in the winter, like in terms of having
No socks, no
socks or
bottoms.
no bottoms on. But here, I found that actually you have to,
You have to, yeah.
because if you don't, then
You get ill.
maybe because my body is not used to it yet. But in a few years, maybe I'll revert back to the old ways. But like, you know, like even now, it's a really nice sunny day, but I've got 3-4 layers on. And then I was talking to Mahapurush a few days ago, and they came up a bunch, and that their Kirtan Ustad used to say that keep all your kind of warm kapde, so your kind of warm clothing, kind of you know, keep them in a place where you can access them until the end of April. And that kind of sometimes makes sense, because although it's warm weather, the air here isn't of a great quality, and also like sometimes it's important to have, like even in the winter time, it's important to keep your gala, your top area kind of covered. So I always make sure that the kind of scarf or having it like something on 2-3 layers on underneath is important, because otherwise you'll be like in quarantine.
I think if you get ill, you won't get better necessarily quite fast. Like in UK, you'll have your heating on and stuff, and you can recover quicker. Here, it tends to linger on. So I've still got the cough that I had from the beginning of January. But what I would recommend is thermals for everyone. Socks. The thing that you'll find is here the water is a lot harder than UK, even if you're in London or wherever. So washing your hair, your body, it can dry it out, and your clothes, and even when you're washing dishes like glass dishes, like mugs and stuff, they tend to break a lot quicker here as well. So, but anyway, in terms of, we did need to get more socks because the socks were ripping a lot quicker because of the water. Thermals are definite. In the winter, you definitely need thermals, and hot water bottles, like I mentioned. You get plug-in heaters, which when the electricity is working are great, but they do catch a lot of electricity. So that as much as you don't want to like create unnecessary bills. And the best thing that I would recommend, although I'm not sure how great it is for the environment in terms of being biodegradable, is heat patches. They are the ones that have helped me over the years. Heat patches have been brilliant. So they're the ones that if you normally have a backache or a shoulder ache, you'll normally stick them onto a piece of your clothing, and they'll stay warm for about 8 hours. When I used to have those in Punjab on trips previously in the winter, I'd be fine, but this year I didn't have it, and that made such a difference, like when I was trying to do little things.
I think also like it's important to kind of understand like this is irreplaceable. This sunlight now we're sitting here, you know, like it's such a nice environment. You're getting the important nutrients for your skin,
Yeah.
It's like this is irreplaceable. You can't get this in England.
This is actually really good for your mental health and well-being. Although some of it's pollution, but the actual just being exposed to the sun, and like pretty much all 12 months you're going to get sun. Um, I think it just does us. Everyone feels great when they sit outside in Punjab in the sun, and you don't get that much in UK. Either you're busy working 9 to 5. That's one thing I don't miss at all. That kind of rush, rat race routine of rush. Here's a different kind of rush because you're doing what fulfills your purpose, gives you meaning, a sense of meaning. And but there it's like it's literally just to pay the bills and just to get on, and whatever spare time you do have amongst that rat race is just that used to go towards seva. Like Singh would be doing Gatha explanations of Sikh history or a Gurbani pretty much every weekend in different cities. It was still rush, but that amount of time that was spent on what we love doing compared to what we're able to do now, it doesn't compare.
I think the key thing is that there might be individuals who be watching who don't have a connection with Guru Granth Sahib Ji, and they might not even understand the saint world. I think even for them to come to an environment like this and be kind of challenged, there's a lot of contentment and trust in a higher power to be learnt, I think.
Yeah.
And the second thing is, I think those individuals who perhaps have got Guru Granth Sahib Ji in their lives and maybe not saints, it's still a powerful source to get Maharaj's Agya from him. There's no replacement of being able to go to Maharaj's asthans, to go to the villages where Maharaj has been. I haven't done it yet, but there's so many villages in our vicinity where Guru Sahib's actually stepped foot themselves, and a lot of the villages are unheard of, like in Itihas as well, some of them, because the local villagers know कि Maharaj आए थे, and they even have got the signs in the villages, but maybe they haven't been picked up by history as well. It's amazing, and that's irreplaceable. The other thing is obviously if you've got the company of saints as well as Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj, and also access to Seva and Simran, and coming from a more contented lifestyle, then there's no place like this place.
Yeah, I think I couldn't agree more with what point Singh Sahib has made. So just to summarize, I think it's really important if you're considering this move. I think what we did for about 5 or 6 years, since 2010, we've been coming to Punjab very regularly, at least on average once a year, you can say, with our children, so they were used to the area already. So one thing you can start doing is bringing them regularly, so they're used to it, and you can see how they are in this environment. The other thing is obviously always take support and guidance from a higher power, Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj and all saints. The final thing is make it a decision. Like if you're going to make this kind of decision, you need to know why you're coming out here. For one couple that we mentioned earlier, theirs was just to go back to organic farming, and that was going to be their giving back to the world, that they're going to give this back to the people of Punjab, healthy foods. For us, is going around and reigniting that faith again, and making social changes that will impact the coming generations. The other thing is, if you are going to come here, also think about your community, where you're going to stay. For us, like I said, it helps. We've got the saints that we've known for many years. They've lived in the UK as well, and also we've got other friends and family that come out here for a long time, so that helps us. Community as well. In terms of your children, I think at the moment the biggest challenge has been their schooling, and for that reason I would consider sending them, if you're thinking about education, because somebody else contacted me about sending their child to an Indian school from UK.
Send them to us.
And I think, yeah, you can send them to us, obviously.
I'll look after them.
We'll look after them. I think the community thing for the children is a big thing. Make sure you send them to trusted people who know the safeguarding rules and procedures, like in the UK. Guys, thank you so much for watching this vlog. If there's anything that we said that might have offended anyone, we ask for forgiveness. This is just our personal journey, and we've probably forgotten thousands of things to say. But if there's anything else you'd like to know, feel free to put it in the comments box down below. Otherwise, please like, share, subscribe. If anyone wants to get in touch with working for the Academy, or anything else that they need, get in touch. ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ